Terrie Sizemore, DVM, is a multifaceted professional with a background in medicine, education and writing. With a degree in veterinary medicine from the Ohio State University, she has enjoyed careers in emergency medicine, nursing and animal care. And Terrie is with us here. How are you today?
Very good. How are all of you?
I'm excellent, thank you. So, what was your background and journey in both veterinary medicine and writing?
I was interested in medicine as a very young girl. I don't really know how that happens for other people. I guess we all have dreams as we're growing up. And I graduated from high school when I was 16 years old. And I knew that I wanted to go into medicine. I knew I wanted to be a doctor. Initially, I wanted to be a plastic surgeon doing reconstructive surgery. But I was a biological major and pre-med headed that way. And my course got a little sidetracked when I met an ambulance driver.
Oh.
And when I met that ambulance driver, I knew that I really wanted to be an ambulance driver. So I did. For the city of Cleveland, I drove an ambulance for 3 years when I was 18 to 21. And during that time, I put myself through nursing school. And I had some horses at the time, and one of my horses was injured. We were loading him into a trailer, and he went up into the air and went too high and fell over backwards. He broke some bones at the base of his neck, and I took him to the university at Ohio State, and I learned that my path career changed at that moment. I still wanted to do medicine and be a doctor, but I decided I wanted to do veterinary medicine. And so then I changed my path along that way and did the prerequisites and then put myself through veterinary school working as a registered nurse.
As a veterinarian, what advice would you give to pet owners who want to provide the best care for their pets?
I think knowledge is a wonderful thing. I decided that I love writing and I wanted to publish my books. And I opened up my own publishing house to publish those books. And one is called D is for dog, one is C is for cat, and one is H is for horse. I wanted it to be a series and go on with sheep and goats and cattle and ferrets and birds and things like that as well. But I've started the first 3, and it's just very basic information. I think knowing what your family wants as a pet, big dog, little dog, kitties. I love horses as well. I've had ducks, chickens, goats, things like that. So it's been kind of fun that way. And I think as far as owners go, just sort of knowing when they need some help. I think the basics, most people are willing to vaccinate their pet against major diseases that pets can have. Dogs with distemper, parvo, rabies. England is rabies free. It's a trick to get into England. And even when they ship the horses in, I know they quarantine them wherever they're competing. So it's kind of a fun global situation that we have with certain diseases.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I guess we can never be 100% sure that we're rabies free, but rabies is the kind of thing that we can pretty much get it down.
Yes, we can control it, but it's still a big threat in America. So I know in even some of the underdeveloped countries, there is no cure for rabies. So we do not want that disease because it not only affects our animals, it can affect humans. So any disease that affects humans becomes a very big public health situation.
And you mentioned that you set up your own publishing house to publish your books. Why did you decide to go down that route? And was it quite difficult?
Well, it wasn't as difficult as it has been in the past. I'll tell you, our world has changed a great deal. So I invite authors to contact me if they're interested in publishing their own work, but I couldn't get a traditional publisher to be interested in my books. I thought that they were valuable, and yet they didn't find them as valuable to pet owners or to readers. So that was very discouraging to me. And then there became a way that we could publish our own. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So I'm really happy about that. Ingram Spark has been very great. Kindle Direct Publishing had Create Space, which is now just Kindle Direct. So people can publish themselves and get their work out there and known to everybody. But sometimes I think we need a little help or direction going in certain ways.
Yeah. And what was it that made you actually want to write these books?
Well, I deal with people every day who dearly love their pets, and
Yeah.
sometimes they don't understand what's being presented to them. And having a nursing background, I have been able to explain technical medical information in a very easy to understand way to patients who are going to surgery, dealing with new diagnoses like diabetes, multiple sclerosis, different diseases that they do. It's been beneficial. My life has been very helpful in these last years of my life, because when my brother had a stroke, we know how to do the nursing care for him. So it's come in. You can learn fast when you're a family member being faced with different medical challenges. But people have pets that they love, and they need to understand about heartworm disease and the importance of that disease, rabies, if you're in a rabies area, the distemper, the care of the pets, the things that happen to the pets along the way, them getting broken bones, them getting cancers of different types, them getting diseases like they get diabetes and heart failure as well as humans do. So
Yeah.
I put in there the different diseases that could happen and the different testing that they may be offered by their veterinarian, so that they understand that testing a little bit better. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And how do you combine the education parts and the fun parts in your literature?
Well, that is a trick, because to be honest with you, some of the material is very boring. unless you love liver disease or heart failure, or all of those things, you're not going to be too interested in that book. So
Yeah.
to help that along, that's a really good question. I put in some really darling pictures. There are pictures that engage the reader and help break it up. And I simplified it as much as I could, because it's not the fun reading that we'd really like to do. But there are young adults that are interested in veterinary medicine. It's a great basic read to help them as they're going along in that general direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one thing to balance the education and fun, but how do you manage to balance your writing and veterinary career? Because you must be very busy.
Sometimes that's true. People would ask me when I write, and sometimes that was at midnight when I got home and all the chores were done and everything was done, and I was sitting in bed watching a late night Hallmark movie and just typing away. I do it whenever I can. The ideas hit me. I spend a lot of time in my vehicle going and coming from work, so I did it then. I had research ideas, breaks at work, my lunch break, things like that. I would carry my computer with me. I'd carry a recording device so that I could make sure I got my ideas down and could follow through when I got home. So it's been very busy, but it's a fun life. And when I added the other authors, I have dozens of authors, some from South Africa, from England, from Brazil, from Canada, the United States still. And all of my illustrators are from all over the world: Belarus, Ukraine, Russia, Brazil, things like that. So South Africa, they're everywhere. And I add them all the time. It's just a really fun thing to do for the children to learn. A lot of the books are educational. Some of the books have soft messages to the children, like about giving, sharing, how they're valuable because they're themselves and they're great little children just being who they are. So it's fun that way too, as well as helping pet owners with their pets. pets.
And do the authors and illustrators from around the world maybe have different perspectives about certain animals?
They do. And I guess the world that I live in, most of the owners that I have, they treasure them as pets. Some of them are working animals. I've worked with the producers, milk producers, beef, pork, chicken producers, all for many, many years. They're some of my favorite people in the whole world that keep the world moving, keep the world fed, keep us all healthy where we're going. And so working with producers is a great thing. And they're out there busy working too. They don't get much credit for what they do, but even the king eats from the field, they tell me. So yeah, we all benefit from the hard work of the producers that are keeping their animals healthy and in good shape that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the king likes eggs.
Yeah. Yes.
Are there any misconceptions or common myths about animal care that you have tried to address within these books?
No, pretty basic stuff. I try to be very upbeat. Sometimes I think the world sees medicine as glamorous, and sometimes it is, and sometimes it's painfully sad, so we deal with the whole spectrum. We deal with introducing baby puppies that come into the world and obviously baby children that come into the world, and everything is all happy. And then sometimes as we travel life, things aren't quite as happy as we wish they were. So we try our very best to minimize any of the difficulties that we can encounter along the way. We can't eliminate all of them. And obviously there's the aging pets. I have had the very personal and very sad experience of saying goodbye to pets that I dearly love. So it's the continuum from happy to sad that exists in our world today.
Well, what's coming up for you in the very short future? Have you got more books coming out?
I do. I have several that I'm really excited about. One is about actually about grief. It's about an unusual way that grief was handled by a certain young woman, and she ends up working through it. But grief is a funny thing for a lot of people. So I wanted to share my sort of experience, and I think a lot of people can identify with that. And then I have another book coming out that is going to be titled 101, I believe, different fun ideas. And they're just ideas and activities and celebrations that families can have together. And even if we don't have families, I mean, a lot of times children make things really fun. So it's fun to go sled riding with them. It's fun to bake Christmas cookies with them. But it's also fun if you don't have them to do it yourself, So I think that one of the tricks of life is keeping everything interesting as much as you can. One of my horse trainers was a wonderful woman from Germany that I love dearly. And she said her mom told her one time that life is many hills and valleys. And so you should surround yourself with beautiful things. And I agree with her. I think that the more things we have around us that we appreciate and love and we do that is fun for us, the more we make our lives meaningful and have a happy life. And even in the middle of some very difficult things that can happen to us, I think we can still find some happiness to share with our friends, our family, or ourselves sometimes.
Well, where are we able to find your books and learn more about your work?
I have a website called bestlittleonlinebookstore.com, and that is available for anyone to view the greeting cards. I create and sell greeting cards of all different kinds, have different little gifts there, and the bookshop is there on the menu, and all of the books that are on my available are there, as well as some other things there. I have some blog books. But I think if you have an interest in one of those books, we're really happy that you may. It would be quicker to receive them if they're ordered on Amazon. So the books to look at can be viewed on the website, but Amazon, I'm the editor. So Terrie Sizemore, I believe if you Google that, I don't know if all of the books I've edited will come up, but there's over 150 books under my editing name.
Well, many thanks for talking to us today. It's been great to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks, Toby, and good luck to you with everything.